Welcome to the 31 days of Boo-Rays. And today is Saga Saturday. We're going to be talking about the Evil Dead saga, one of the greatest sagas of all time. Don't tell Star Wars I said that. Now look, Evil Dead films, they're classics. Everybody knows that. The Sinful Dwarf knows that. This video's for you, buddy. Special shout out, because Zach told me to. Look, Evil Dead, the first one, fucking classic, okay? But don't watch this Blu-ray. Fuck this Blu-ray. Fuck the 4K. Fuck anything Evil Dead that's not the DVD or the VHS release. Because in the Blu-ray and the 4K, my boy Sam Raimi, if you're watching this, I know you piece of shit, you George Lucas'd us, and you took out all the good camera, you know, all the goofs, all the people in the background that shouldn't be there, all that fun stuff. You took it out. Why would you do... I can't believe you've done this to me. Anyways, Evil Dead, let's get back on track. This first one is bona fide classic. Most people watch this movie for the enjoyment of the mistakes and watching the good low-budget gore effects. This is one of the most fucking viciously entertaining movies ever. You only got to sit through about 20 minutes of bullshit, like, you know, bad acting and plot establishment before it just goes full-on through the roof, pedal to the metal, just straight-up gore fest. I love this movie. Stephen King loves this movie. He's the one who shouted it out back in the day. Like, this movie would not exist without... Or, it would exist, but it would not be the classic that we know it as today, if not for my boy Stephen King seeing this movie on a whim at the drive-in one night and then telling all his friends, yo, Evil Dead is, you know, amazing. And then they put that on the poster. It said, Stephen King says, you know, this movie's amazing. And everybody had to see it at that point, and it became like a midnight drive-in classic. Everything you've heard about this movie, positive, is true. This movie's, it's almost a flawless film. It's so fun to watch. Now, Bruce Campbell hasn't become the god that we know him as today, yet in this movie. He's got a unibrow, a funny-looking bowl cut, he's kind of a doofus. We can forgive him because he becomes the hero of the films and one of the greatest heroes of our generation, to be honest. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize or some kind of a recognition for what he's contributed to this world. But that's neither here nor there. So that's the first Evil Dead movie. Very good, very gory, very funny, but not intentionally so. Then we have, Evil Dead 2. Now let me tell you a little story about Evil Dead 2. Before I even knew what the fuck Evil Dead was, did I mention some girl gets raped by a tree in this movie? It is super fucked up. I had to throw that out there. Anyways, Evil Dead 2, great fucking movie. But before I even had any concept of what Evil Dead was, I was walking through this place, you guys might remember if you're my age, called Tower Records, and they had this movie on VHS, and something about the skull with the eyes fucked me up for at least 3 days. It just weirded me out. I had nightmares about it, but then, you know, maybe I'm a weird kid, but I feel like kids who tend to be horror kids, it's what fucks them up that they have this huge drive to, at that point, see. You know what I mean? And so I was spending the summer with my grandma, and she would let me rent any movie I wanted, mostly because she wasn't paying any attention. And so I rented Evil Dead 2. I just put like I gave her a stack of movies I wanted her to rent from me, right? And I just put like Indiana Jones or some shit on top. And then below that I had like Evil Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the real stuff, you know? And I would ruin my brain, because then I would just go into their room at night when they were sleeping and watch these movies. And yeah, I would destroy myself. But Evil Dead 2 is so good. It's an all-time classic. It's basically kind of a loose remake of the first one. Not shot for shot. Some people act like it is a remake of the first one. It's not. It's clearly a sequel. It keeps the story going. But it's what you would call in modern times a reboot, you know? It's a sequel, but also it introduces new things and all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, on the same exact plot of the original. And James Cameron recommends this movie. Everybody recommends this movie. This is a great movie. This is almost my favorite of the Evil Dead saga. Not quite. We'll get to that. But Evil Dead 2 is everything that you love about the first movie, all the gore and all the fun, amped up to 11 with hilarious, like, kind of like Three Stooges-esque comedy. And that's what makes this movie work so well, is it's purely a horror comedy, and like, for every scare, there's something equally funny. And a horror comedy is really hard to pull off, because you want to scare people 1 minute, ideally, and have them laughing the next. And this movie manages to have a jump scare, and then an eye pops out fucking Three Stooges style and goes flying into somebody's mouth. It's classic, in every sense of the word. The gore effects are some of the best of the 80s. Bruce Campbell is almost in full Bruce Campbell mode. He's 90% to the God that we worship him as today. And then Army of Darkness. This is the best one of the saga. This is the best movie of all time. 10-year-old me and whatever I am old now, like almost 30 or some shit, both agree that this is the best film of all time. When I saw this movie, I couldn't believe my eyes. Because, like, you know, you don't expect to see heaven for real. And this is cinematic heaven, you know? This is everything I want in a horror movie. It's got the laughs. It's got the gore. It's got the crazy over-the-top shit. He has a chainsaw for a hand. This is him full-on, you know, when you think of Bruce Campbell, the man, the myth, the legend, the slayer of ladies in a good way, this is him. This is Bruce Campbell's movie. This is his chance to shine. He should have won an Oscar for this. Unfortunately, the Academy sucks dick and they don't know anything. But this is an all-time classic. My edition of it is the nice Screen Factory edition with the slipcover. It's out of print. Be jealous. Go ahead. I don't blame you. I sleep very comfortably every night knowing that this is in my collection. But this movie, I probably watched this movie more than any movie ever. Honestly, like, when I was a kid, especially, when I was like 10 years old, I literally had this on repeat for entire days. I've owned this movie 3 times on VHS, twice on DVD, once on Blu-ray, and I know as soon as the 4K comes out, I'm getting that too. This is probably this and Terminator 2 are the movies I've bought the most often in my life. Just because every time I think I'm done buying it, a new edition comes out, and I'm a total sucker. I'm just like, okay, it's got one new special feature and slightly better video quality. Yeah, I'll watch it. This movie's hilarious. If you haven't watched this movie, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. You're ruining your life by not seeing this movie. It is an all-time classic. Perfect for not only the Halloween season, but any season ever. It just goes with it. It's a great movie. Watch it with your family. Honestly, I feel like you could watch this, not with your super young kids, but you could watch this with any kid that's like 10 and up. It's not that bad. These two are all-out gore fests and crazy, and there's tree rape, and there's eyes popping out, and heads getting mauled and shit. But this movie is really, it's the PG-13 version of Evil Dead, so you can be enjoyed by all. I think my brother has shown my nephew it, and he's about 10 years old. Like, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Anybody who watches this movie and says they don't have fun with it is an asshole, and just delete them from your life. Get them out of there. You don't need that kind of negativity. So, those are the 3 holy grails, right? When they announced that they're remaking Evil Dead, I shit my pants with fear. And not the good kind of fear, not the grueling terror that this movie promises. I was really, really scared that they were going to totally shit on the legacy. Bruce Campbell wasn't involved at all. Sam Raimi was only producing. I really was beside myself. I was like, what's going to happen? Are they really going to ruin my favorite movie of all time? You know, my favorite movies, plural. But, as you can see, I own this film on Steelbook Blu-ray. It's pretty fucking good. They went their own way, and not in the way of, like, where they go so different it shouldn't even be called Evil Dead. This is an Evil Dead film. It's everything you want out of a remake, because it's an Evil Dead film. When you watch it, it's undeniably Evil Dead, but they take it in such a new and fresh direction that, like, it doesn't try to be the originals either. It's its own thing. It has its own merits. The gore effects, oh my, they pulled it off. There's, like, very little to no CGI in this movie. The cinematography, the movie's so gray with, like, these harsh greens that come in the forest. Like, colors, the color palette of this film is, like, it's so spooky and Halloween-y, and, like, that's one of the things I love the most about this movie, is I feel like it's the way Evil Dead wanted to look, you know? This is, like, the way you looked in high school versus the fucking glow up now. You know what I mean? This movie is such a fresh version of the original. I really, of course I prefer the original trilogy, but I have a lot of love for this movie. Like, I really do consider it a part of the saga, not just another remake. There's a scene where she shoves a chainsaw down a zombie's throat, and that's one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history. While it's raining fucking blood, that's happening. If that's not the most metal moment of all time, that's just that. Oh my god! And then a person gets beat to death with the white thing that's on top of a toilet, like the top of a toilet. That's crazy. You know, this is a wild movie. Metal as fuck. It's metal up your ass. It's a great movie. That's why I had to get it on this metal steelbook. I think the steelbook's out of print too, so go ahead, be jealous. I understand. So that brings us to now. where the most recent output from Evil Dead is Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV show on Starz. This lasted 4 seasons, I want to say, or 3, but I think it's 4. You can correct me in the comments. Go ahead. But I, tragically, have only seen the first 2 seasons of this show. I need to continue watching it. Because I didn't have Starz at the time, so at the time I just bought this on Blu-ray, and then I didn't have money, so I haven't bought the other ones yet, because they're kind of hard to find now. You know, I need to catch up on this show, but from what I've seen, these 2 seasons that I've seen, this is a great show that just continues on the Bruce Campbell legacy of Evil Dead. You got my boy Bruce back with his chainsaw arm, and he's in full, just hilarious Bruce Campbell mode. The thing about Bruce Campbell, like, I genuinely think he's one of my favorite people in the world, because he has this amazing self-awareness where, like, he acts like a god while at the same time acting like a loser. And I feel like we all have that inside of us, you know? There's the side of us that's a god and the side that's a loser, and it's a constant battle in between us. It's like the god and the devil, you know? And Bruce Campbell, he's a man's man, you know? Fucking player. And he kicks ass. He shoots zombies. He kills people with chainsaws. Like, what more do you need in an actor? He really deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award. I cannot say this enough, you know? But he's great in the show. He makes the show. He's got a lot of funny chemistry with the rest of the cast. And again, the special effects. That's what I got to return to. Overall, The Evil Dead is such a good example of how to pull off great horror effects. You know, like a lot of movies, they go too crazy in one direction, or they have one really, really good scene of gore or whatever. But Evil Dead is just like, those are landmark films in terms of horror effects. If you want to study that kind of thing, and if that's like your forte is like good practical effects, those are the movies that you want to be watching. Like, yeah, there's good examples in all movies. You know, you have Cronenberg movies have really good gore effects. You got like Dead Alive and all that kind of stuff. But it's just something about the Evil Dead films. You have the corniness of the first one, which are like really like amateur special effects. And then you have some of the great practical effects in the remake and everything in between in these movies. That's truly what I love about it. You know, I make jokes and say like, oh, Bruce Campbell's the greatest actor of all time, and oh, they're the funniest movies of all time. And like, I do to a certain degree somewhat feel that way just because I love these movies so much. But overall, what brings me back, what keeps me in love with these movies is just the effects, and each movie has this kind of genuine love for film. When you watch it, you know, like, there's the humble beginnings of the originals, you know, these people that just went out in the woods on no budget and filmed a horror movie with a lot of gore. You know, that's kind of what every amateur filmmaker dreams, that they could make Evil Dead, you know? And then even in the later ones, you have a very much more polished product, but it's still that same concept of filmmakers in the woods making a nasty movie, you know? And that's what brings me back, is the gore effects, the love for film. These are pure cinema. This is a long-ass video, I know, guys, but I've droned on long enough. Stop this video, subscribe, and watch the Evil Dead Saga.